Hi, Madeline. How you doing? Okay, thanks so much for getting this second iteration in so quickly. Definite improvement. I can definitely see a vast improvement in your typesetting here. Um, I do have a couple of suggestions. Now, I know you missed a lot of the class, or you missed some, but I really want you to, try to read and get back as much as you can as possible. Okay, for example, one of the things that was really emphasized throughout the weeks was the combination of using a serif typeface and a sans serif typeface. It just time and again shows us just a much more interesting perspective. So I'd like to see that kind of combination on the front of your poster somewhere. Also, I still think you're trying to do too much with image. Um, I want to show you a quick example in a second, but first I want to point a couple of things out. These are both on a diagonal, and I don't know why. I'm not real sure why they're on a diagonal. I'm just wondering. I mean, typographically, is there a reason for them to be in an set in an italic? Okay. Plus, the image here, the image is only supposed to be on the back side. There's no image permitted on the front side. So if you want to take a look at the project specs again real quick, you'll see right over here, photographic imagery may only be used with the Nobel laureate, and his or her picture must appear on the back of the poster. So we can't have the image on the front of the poster. You've also got two things here. You only require one subhead or one subtext here. So John Paul Flory, the polymer pioneer, that's fine. It's actually pretty catchy. John Paul Flory, the polymer pioneer. So we don't need this, the history of the 1970s. We don't really need that. This is enough to spark the interest. It's enough to really, it gives enough. I want to show you an example. Another work of a student who has been really trying to express the work differently. And let me just show you the work, and I'll explain. Let the work speak for itself. So this is the first iteration. Okay, and I should probably hide that. Okay, this is the first iteration right here. Okay, so as you can see, we have this. This was the first iteration, and I thought, my comments were that, a couple of things I don't understand. Why is this on a diagonal like that? Is there a conceptual reason for that? And the answer to that question was no, there's not really a conceptual reason. I thought, okay, so what about these? These look a lot like radio waves and not the those other kind of waves. I forget what they're called, and I said, is there a reason for that? She said, no, not really. And I got back to her and I said, well, listen, let's just make everything on your page, make it make sense. Okay, don't just put something on a diagonal for no reason. Have a reason for it. If you don't have a reason for it, don't do it. And I just want to show you where she ended up. Just taking the simplicity, that route. Look at this piece. It's absolutely beautiful. That's what she came up with at the end, from this to this. So as you can see here, she just let go. She's letting the image take over. She's letting these radio waves completely dominate the layout, so you almost don't even remember the name or the words you've read. So we worked and worked, and my point was simplicity, and she worked it out to that. So excuse me. So the reason I'm mentioning this is because let's look at the front. Okay, so you can make this whatever kind of connection you want to make with this. Okay, I lost my mouse. Where is it? There it is. Okay, see this honeycomb thing? Make that connection somehow. You don't need to have all this color and the image and this ghosted out image and the white background, and you're trying to say too much. So let's just say it typographically. Exactly the bare bones. What is it? It's John Paul Flory, the polymer pioneer. So that's what you want to feature on the front cover, just the type. And then work your concept into the type, how she did that radio wave into his name. Figure a way out to do that. Now I'm going to go ahead and go over the back of your piece right now, even though this piece was only for the front. So the back of the piece, we have this really busy background, and I think that's a mistake. And I think you've got all sorts of things going on. Again, just too much going on. all these different type sizes and all these different size bubbles. And I mean, we're not even sure if this is a timeline because it doesn't seem to follow really any kind of a chronological order with these all bubbles all randomly placed, and plus the randomness of the background is really coming through in the randomness of the type itself. I mean, there's no hierarchy whatsoever. There's no alignment. Okay, so you've got typographic, you've got some hyphens right there. Now we learned about that. They shouldn't be there. You've got a lot of things here that really need to be considered. Number one is the grid. We need solid alignment here. So your job is to create a timeline somehow based on whatever element you decide to feature in the front. Okay, and then when you create that timeline, add the text to the timeline. It doesn't have to be this big because you have to have some kind of subtext. If you look at all of the examples, okay, the front and then the back has all this subtext. There's the timeline, but it has all this subtext. The next one, there's this back has here's the timeline, and then it has all this subtext of more information. Yours just has the timeline. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at. And if you have any questions, comments, or anything, feel free to give me a holler. Okay, thanks.